Hello, hello. Welcome to this latest video. My name's Pia Prana Muggerud, and I'm a holistic counselor as, as well as a coach, a self-leadership coach. And really my mission is to provide comprehensive support and guidance to women who identify with a good girl archetype. And I understand unique challenges and pressures that the good girls face in their lives, relationships, and I'm here to empower you on your journey of self-discovery and authenticity. So I use a combination of therapeutic techniques, mindfulness practices, coaching strategies, all this to support you to reclaim your voice, set healthy boundaries, and help you to develop skills to communicate more assertively, embrace your authentic self, and make empowered choices that really are in alignment with your true essence. And for some women, we actually have to start with the true essence. We have to start with who am I really before all the layers of conditioning that were placed on me all those years ago. So today I'd like to talk about suppressing difficult emotions. And suppression is something good girls are very accustomed to. And I'm just curious if you've ever found yourself wrestling with the question of, should you avoid difficult emotions? You know, and all the emotions that are not supposedly acceptable in society. That could be anger, rage, disgust. Or is it better to keep them bottled up? Do you ever wonder why it feels easier to, in fact, suppress difficult emotions rather than express them? And this topic has really come up because I have a client, and this client has always strived to, we've worked together a long time, and ever since this person came to me, they want to maintain a constant state of happiness and joy. That's the goal. And this desire actually stems from childhood. A childhood marked with lack of healthy attachment and nurturing, and often having to rely on herself for support. And so she became very self-reliant and getting on with life, doing what she thought was right, ticking all the boxes. And yet, this elusive joy, this elusive happiness, mostly feels untouchable. So this yearning for this eternal happiness actually comes from a deeper need to release the pain and shame that she carried from those early years of childhood, right? An enormous amount of shame. And at the same time, she notices now that she notices how painful it is not to really feel those emotions authentically. So there's like this drive. So throughout her life, she's very much been driven to have success, driven to provide, and so on. And no matter what she does, no matter what accolades or accomplishments, this joy is still not reaching her. And so I want to read to you a quote from a very wise doctor, my hero in the therapeutic world, Dr. Gabor Maté. And he says, let me find it. Okay, he says, when we suppress our feelings to avoid pain, disappointment, and shame, we stifle our capacity for joy, courage, and dim our inner light. Yeah, we stifle our capacity for joy, and we also dimming our inner light, that pure essence that we were born with. So paradoxically, we need to navigate through the challenging emotions in order to pave the way for authentic joy. And I can tell you, I lived very much like this myself. And when I then started doing the inner work, there was a well of these so-called unacceptable emotions. There was a well of them, especially deep sadness, grief, anger, rage, right? And if they're not expressed, what happens to them? They stay stuck inside of you. Yeah? Now, some people are wondering why it feels easier to suppress these emotions rather than expressing them. And I know for sure when I was this very unconscious, lived a very unconscious life, God, it's so much nicer not to have to feel those things. Because it doesn't feel good in the beginning to touch them, right? And not just that, when we experience anger, rage, panic, grief, whatever that unacceptable emotion is, from many of those, there's this real innate fear that expressing those emotions could jeopardize our relationships. Expressing difficult emotions can make you feel vulnerable, and then fearing that others may reject or even judge you. Yeah. And as human beings, we're hardwired for social connection. So the last thing we want is to eliminate someone we care about or be eliminated by. Yeah. So a very deep-seated fear in all of us, to lesser or greater extent, is the fear of abandonment. The fear of abandonment, it lays deep inside of all of us to greater or lesser degree. So especially with the good girl, we look for ways to, the last thing we want is to jeopardize connection, jeopardize love. So we find ways to be acceptable in the way that we present ourselves in the world. But then actual emotional suppression can definitely be a form of avoidance. It allows you this temporary escape, or it might help you distract yourself from the discomfort or the distress that's associated with more difficult emotions. Yeah? And I think we're almost like we're more fearful of fear itself, because my experience is that when we get to experience those emotions, when we get to really express them, oh, there's such a relief. Actually, it feels great to be angry. And as I've said many times, I advocate expressing anger in a safe environment with a trusted therapist or counselor in a group setting, not pointing it at other people and certainly not pointing it at yourself. So learning that it can be safe to express those emotions could be so wonderful. It's so freeing, in fact. But unconsciously, we often go to great lengths, especially good girls, to present ourselves in the best possible light to the people around us, right? Even if it means neglecting our own needs, desires, and actually totally bulldozing over our own authenticity. And then over time, this develops into a lifelong pattern of people-pleasing, unhealthy behaviors, which actually we abandon ourselves because we abandon our own authenticity. And if you don't have your back, who will? If you can't say to yourself, I at least am in your corner, who else will, right? So it can also be a very lonely journey. But there is good news. There is a way to address these emotions like anger, rage, grief, without suppressing them. I mean, there's many ways, but today I want to just touch a little bit on Dr. Gabor Maté's compassionate inquiry. And that system really empowers you to explore the reasons behind these emotions. And you do it with curiosity and especially self-compassion. So for example, curiosity really allows you to explore the underlying layers of the experience, of the emotions, the behaviors. And curiosity deepens your self-awareness. It also fosters greater compassion towards yourself, compassionate inquiry. And I also want to say about curiosity is that curiosity doesn't assume that you have all the answers. So it really leaves you like, what could it be? It leaves the answers wide open. And I think curiosity is one of the greatest qualities to have. And then to engage in compassion inquiry really begins by acknowledging the specific emotion that's arising within you. So is it anger? Is it shame? Guilt? Frustration? First of all, just notice, what is it? It could come up for you as a feeling in the body. Felt sense, it could be a contraction somewhere, right? A tension, even a pain in the body. So be curious about that. Ah, is this anger? Is this grief? And then you gently inquire into either the emotion that's coming up or the feelings that you notice in the body. And then you can really engage in a dialogue with yourself. You can ask yourself questions such as, what message might this emotion be trying to give me or convey to me? Right? What am I learning here? What am I being taught? What's the underlying thought or belief that is triggering this emotion? Yeah? You may be stuck with a whole bunch of disempowering beliefs that you also need to challenge, right? So just notice, what is the thought or belief that's triggering my emotion right now? And then digging a little bit deeper into the past, where did this belief, thought, emotion, or fear actually originate from? Now you can do this on your own. Of course, you can even ask a trusted friend to, if you don't have a counselor or a therapist, you can ask a friend to ask you these questions. It's not something that happens overnight. Suddenly you get the answers, but it's a great start. Because as you delve deeper into those questions, really start noticing what comes up for you, allowing the answers to arise without your interference through either judgment or analysis. You might judge that, no, that's not it. Don't be stupid. You know, the mind can be very fickle. Yeah? Sometimes we really can't trust the mind. And so really trust what the body is telling you. And it's also important to remember that you're not defined by the feelings that are causing you pain. You are the one unearthing, or you can either call it befriending these emotions, right? So the moment you can have a friendliness with it, like a welcoming with it, you're welcome here. Unlike what you perhaps learned when you were much younger. There can be befriending, and it might not feel so scary or confronting after a while. And what this practice of questioning and inquiring and being curious, what this helps you to do is it really strengthens your awareness muscle. Just like when you go to the gym, you know, you're using dumbbells and you start with a pound or half a kilo and then you build yourself up, right? Same thing. It allows you to be present to whatever is arising within you and around you without becoming overwhelmed or entangled in all of it. And it might take some practice. So don't get frustrated or angry with yourself if at the first attempt nothing really happens and you're just left frustrated maybe or angry with yourself. Try again and then again. Repetition is the mother of all skill, is an expression I like. Keep practicing. So, for good girls, to finish up, it's essential to honor and acknowledge your emotions. They hold such valuable messages and insights that can guide you on your path to reclaiming your authenticity and breaking free from the conditioning that has held you back in the past. And for many of us, or you, are still holding you back to this day. So remember, start by making sure that you are in your own corner. Yeah, you're the only one that can do that. So with that, I'm going to finish off. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your experiences, your insights from this video. So please write them in the comments below. I'd really love to interact with you. And maybe there's something you disagreed with. I'd love to hear from you either way. So until then, from my heart to yours, thank you for being here. Much love. Bye for now.